we just met, Agent. But I've got to say, we make a damn good team. And we're just getting started.
It feels almost unreal that we've finally got our hands on the much anticipated and the much delayed Crackdown 3. From a gameplay perspective, we're not sure whether it's a game that lives up to its initial hype, but from a technical perspective, it definitely falls a bit short compared to its original showing. To begin with, Crackdown 3 is divided into two portions, the single player section and the Wrecking Zone, its multiplayer component. Both components have different technical ambitions. The single player aims to deliver an open world experience with action elements, whereas the Wrecking Zone uses Microsoft's Azure cloud services to render enhanced destruction and physics. To begin with, we'll be taking a look at the single player component.
Thank you.
Target the station master.
Crackdown 3 uses Unreal Engine 4 to deliver its cel-shaded style that the series is known for. As noted before, Crackdown 3's single-player component is set in an open world which is filled with futuristic technology and a neon art style. There is a distinct charm to the game's world thanks to the developer's smart choice of colour palette and art style. Unfortunately though, the world itself feels barren and flat. In an era where open-world games are brimming with authentic crowd behaviour and complex AI simulation, Crackdown 3's world is pretty uninspiring. The mission spots are all where the action is taking place, but besides those, there is very little personality in the game's world. The game also seems to be using a partial solution for implementing its physical-based lighting model. Some areas in the world lack material shaders, thereby resulting into flat lighting models. Overall, the implementation of the lighting model is inconsistent, but when it works really well. However, there are some bright spots in Crackdown 3. One of them is the particle effects. Although not out of this world, the particle effects while shooting or causing destruction look great, and it gels well with the colourful art style of Crackdown 3. The character's armour looks impressive thanks to material shaders and the lighting engine.
Regulator cell offline.
We also got to try the single-player components across Windows 10, Xbox One X and Xbox One. Let us take a look at the PC version first. The developers recommend an Intel i5-4690 or an AMD FX 8350, a GeForce 970 or 1060 or a Radeon R9 290X or RX 480 and 8GB of memory. Our test PC includes a GTX 1080 Ti, 16GB of GDDR4 memory, and a Ryzen 1700 CPU. As expected with most Microsoft titles for Windows 10, there are a ton of graphical options, ranging from effects quality, character texture detail, vehicle texture detail, world texture detail, texture filtering, shadow map, anti-aliasing, global level of detail, light shaft quality, sharpening, lens flare quality, and a few others. As expected, we had no performance issues with every setting maxed out. The Xbox One X version runs at a higher resolution compared to the base Xbox One build. The Xbox One X version comes pretty close to the PC assets package, but lacks in a couple of parameters such as world texture detail and shadow map quality. The Xbox One version, on the other hand, lacks the level of detail and light shaft quality found in the Xbox One X version. Performance too was solid throughout the test across both versions.
Enough! Training time!
Hurting him. Keep it up. I don't see many refugees at that monorail station, but we should still shut it down just in case. See if you can draw out the AI station master.
Please be aware, a hostile agent has been spotted in the vicinity.
Just in case.
Station defenses are
Sequence drive
activated.
the AI
Thank you.
Target the station master.
Be advised, a threat has been detected in your area. Activating basic station defense protocols.
Now let's move to the wrecking zone, but before we do so, please note that our impressions here are not final. We believe that the developers will be improving this in the future, so you can consider this as our initial impressions about the technology. With that in mind, let's proceed ahead. Back during Gamescom 2015, Microsoft showcased the power of the cloud. The gaming world was taken aback by the high-end destruction capability of the technology, which dynamically pulled resources from the cloud. It was mind-blowing, and unlike anything we've seen before. Unfortunately, the tech we saw all those years ago hasn't translated in its full in Crackdown 3. This isn't to say that the current technology isn't great though. It still does an admirable job of rendering some high-level destruction, but the impeccable physics and the volumetric effects that we saw during Gamescom 2015 is kind of missing here. There is still a ton of destruction here, a lot of complex physics calculations, and the rendered effects could be impressive at times. But we can't help but wonder whether the original vision got lost somewhere during the development hell this game went through. On a more positive note though, all three versions performed pretty well, and ran at playable frame rates. However, the game struggled with the PC build at maxed out settings, so we had to reduce it down to high to eliminate slowdowns and freezes. Another minor note that we want to make is about the connection requirement. We tested the game on a high internet connection, and still the UI showed that the connection was poor. We're not sure whether this is a bug or you need a specific speed to get this working. Regardless, we wanted to point this out to our viewers. Given that it's still early days, we can't wait to see how this tech evolves. We're hopeful Microsoft can invest in it to make it more refined and mature, and do more things with it besides destruction. At the end of the day, Crackdown 3 is a mixed bag. The destruction physics falls short of what we saw during Gamescom 2015, the graphics are a combination of good and bad, and the core gameplay loop is a bit inconsistent. In many ways, the troubled development that Crackdown 3 went through is pretty much apparent in its tech and content. Crackdown 3 could have been so much more, but right now it seems like a first big step towards bigger and impressive things for the future of cloud gaming.